Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the 10th edition of Cinema Effect After Dark. I'm Zach, and I'm joined by the amazing Spider-Man Defense Force, Jaden.
Yo.
Howdy. Yo, pleasure to be here with you tonight. We've, of course, got a resident Irish citizen, a.k.a. Fitzy, a.k.a. Liam.
Hello. Good evening. Good afternoon. Evening. How are you?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon to you as well. What time can you start saying evening?
5-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like some people, like, sort of at like 3:50, they start pulling in the evenings, and it's like, don't know about that. And, of course, we've got the Soul Slayer, Dr. Luke. He's back.
I'm back. Hello. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
That's okay. Pleasure to have you. It's been a while. We needed to get you back. It is a bit of a dilemma because I don't believe... I mean, this might be one of those times when I say something and then you guys immediately jump on me for being wrong. I don't believe we've ever done 4-person video. I couldn't think of an example.
No, because you don't have the template made, do you?
I do have it made because I love planning ahead, and I made it at the time I made all the other ones, but I don't think I've ever used it.
Yeah.
So,
I
anyway,
think Liam missed the episode that Andy came on, which was Horde. But I just can't think of another.
Oh, yeah.
instance.
But you missed Walkabout, right? Was Walkabout
And you missed Walkabout.
video?
Oh, and that was at it. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
People have been missing, I guess.
That's crazy, dude. All right, so that means we have a dilemma as regards to what is the 4-person layout? What is the order? That's
I'm
crazy.
looking this way, and Liam's looking that way. And then Spooky looks that way, and you look that way, you know?
Yeah, me and Jay may be on the same row, I guess, because we look at each other. And then,
I can't tell. Are Spooky and I looking the same way?
You guys are a bit dead-eyeing it, you know?
A little. Yeah.
So, like, it doesn't really matter too much, you know?
Okay.
Do you want me to just do this for
Yeah.
I'm just looking at my wall at the moment. I'm not looking at the camera or the screen or anything.
I might have to. We'll see if I have to flip one of us, or if it's I don't know. We'll see. Okay, but that's fine. So the Spookies, therefore. So Jane, you just agreed to this. Spookies on top with me, and you guys are down below.
Yeah, I really don't care too much, man.
I'm fine
that's
with it,
good.
yeah.
Okay, that's fine. If you're happy to be on bottom, I'm cool with that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Cinema Effect, the podcast where we review and talk about a different movie every single Monday. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, podcast services of your choice, and leave us a review on Spotify. I asked last week, but I feel like me asking last week was invalid by the fact I forgot to record the video, so I've got to ask again. Leave us a review on Spotify, please. That'd be nice. This week, the movie we're reviewing is Brother Bear, which opened in the US on November 1st, 2003. It was directed by Aaron Blaise and Robert Walker. It is an animated adventure film, and the synopsis says, when a young hunter needlessly kills a bear, he is magically changed into a bear himself as punishment, with a talkative cub being his only guide to changing back. And what a punishment it was, because holy fuck, that young bear was annoying. Okay. I'm going to start with Jaden. What did you think of Brother Bear? How many times have you seen it? Well, I feel like we've got to dive into our deep histories with Brother Bear that we may or may not have.
Like, this film is like the epitome of a question of the week, pretty much, where, like, this... I feel like I watched it shit tons when I was younger. It's one that I've always liked. I have the DVD for it, you know. I'm sure I watched that to breaking point almost. But genuinely have not seen it since, you know, I've developed a memory. I've always just had the inkling that I like it. And you know, that inkling was pretty much correct. I think it's still pretty great. I think it's very strong, kind of. I don't think it's anything, you know, overly different or anything that sets it apart too much, but, you know, I think it does everything right. Especially within its kind of formula of, like, you know, brothers and stuff.
Sure. Okay. Solid brother tale. Okay.
Almost as if it's about brothers and bears.
That's right. That's right. Well said. Spooky, I feel like, so I didn't introduce you as Spooky, so people are probably confused. Dr. Luke, aka Spooky, aka whatever the hell else I said.
Soul
what did
Slayer.
you think?
Yeah.
Soul Slayer, what did you think of Brother Bear?
Yeah, Brother Bear is one of those movies that definitely holds a special place in my filmography. Well, not that I made it, but like definitely my list of childhood films. But yet, unlike Jaden, it is something that as a family we refer to quite often. Like we will
so
quote
it's a family affair.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
okay.
So
All right.
ironically, it's my brother's birthday today, and we loved Brother Bear. He and I. Like this was a brother movie for Brother Bear, and like we as a family we quoted everything that's in this, like all the jokes that the moose say, the whole thing with the goats when they're like, "You shut up, no, you shut up," all that sort of stuff. All the little, I spy a long vertical log tree, like all those things. It's very quotable in our house. This movie is one of those Disney movies that it's like Jaden's right. I think it's solid. It knows what it's doing. It tells its story really, really well. And it's special. I don't know if you were sort of similar, Jaden, but I always sort of felt like Brother Bear was one of those Disney. It's not an A-tier Disney movie. It's like one of those Disney movies that not many people have heard about. And because of that, it always felt special for me. Like everyone's heard of, Little Mermaid, like all those sort of main Disney princess movies. And then a few people have heard of Tarzan and things like that. But for me, Brother Bear was one of those sort of like, oh, have you heard of Brother Bear? Oh, no, that's a Disney movie. It was one of those like movies that not many people had heard about. Something like Atlantis and the Lost City has that same energy for me as well. It's one of those like random Disney movies that no, you didn't see it in the movies. Your nana had like a DVD of it, and anytime you went to her house, you would watch it. Something like that.
Well, so, I don't know. I've never really had a metric for it. Like I've never really mentioned it to anyone else ever. So I've never really been able to gauge like how familiar anyone else is with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wouldn't know. Yeah.
I typically find that people aren't familiar with it. Mm-hmm. They're usually familiar with Tarzan. And then, like, the segue for me is always, oh, Phil Collins does the music for Brother Bear as well. And they go, oh, okay, oh, yeah. It's a good movie for me.
That's interesting. I mean, I think you're onto something. There was definitely a period there, like, Disney animation had a rough time, like 90s, early 2000s, for sure. When you say no one saw it, that's true, because no one went to the fucking movies to see these movies. They were bombed. So there's definitely
post
Lion King for sure. Lion King was their last hurrah. There is this sort of interesting sort of cultish flavor about some of these films. I don't know if I don't know to what extent Brother Bear falls, like, but there's definitely something to that with like Treasure Planet and these other ones from that era. That interesting, but it's funny. Like I always had the idea that I'd want to get you on to do Brother Bear, Luke, but I also I didn't even remember why. Like, I was just like, at some point, did I know this about you and your family at some point? Like,
I think you just know that I'm like a Phil Collins fan, and maybe you've just sort of lent that into, Spooky likes Tarzan, Spooky likes Brother Bear then.
I guess. But I watched this movie with no understanding that Phil Collins did anything in it. So.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. But it was the composer, Mark, someone. What's his name?
Mark
Who's the composer for the movie?
What about him, though?
He did something else that he spoke about a few episodes ago.
Really?
And in the comments, I was like, oh, that's the dude that did Brother Bear.
Oh, shit. Oh, God, you can find that out. That's you're going to link it all here. Very nicely.
Find it. Mark McCania. He did Jura number 2, Speed, Moana 2, Twister, Moana, Brother Bear. He did Tarzan. He did Training Day. He did The Sea Beast. It might have been that.
There's another animated film that's good, by the way, guys. Sorry.
Let's not. No.
Oh yeah, don't worry. Don't worry. This energy's carrying. Fitzy, I'm not gonna lie. When you logged this film and you didn't put rewatch, I was like, "What the fuck happened? Like, what? You haven't seen Brother Bear?
Oh yeah, man. I haven't seen a second of this film before.
That's crazy.
You're a case for Spooky's point, then.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah. I mean, I didn't watch this, and I feel like I missed all the other ones too, like Treasure Planet. I only watched Atlantis like 2 years ago or something. So yeah, a lot of these Disney films that aren't like main Disney films, I've kind of missed out on. But yeah, it's my first time watching it, and it was, I don't know, it was decent. It was decent. I think there were some interesting choices for sure.
Wacky. Wasn't interesting.
There was one very interesting choice, but
yes.
What's this?
We'll get there. We'll get there.
yeah, we'll get there.
Okay.
I think that was, but yeah, I think the movie had its moments. I think the side characters were pretty fun. You know, the Mooses were great. But the kind of Canadian accent, that addition was cool. And the kind of journey was fun, and the coda was good. Yeah, I think it is kind of a pretty standard story. So like overall, I wasn't like overly won over by it. I think it was decent and had its like definitely some strong emotional moments. But yeah, I liked it. That's my summary. I liked it.
Fitzy, you can say it. It's okay. It's okay. You can say.
I can say it around. Yeah.
The movie was fine. It was all right. It was fine. It was perfectly watchable. Mostly. I also agree that there was some odd choices. I don't know. For me, like, I don't know if we're talking about the same things at all, but just in terms of the story and the way in which it goes about trying to give a positive message to kids and everyone like these animated films do, I found the result of that pretty head scratching at times in instances with some of the execution of that. So yeah, I don't know. And just some stuff that was kind of goofy to me, but it was overall, there were definitely some shining moments for sure. But I don't know. I'm a bit mid on it. Jaden,
for the sake of brevity and the length of the episode, can we just make a promise now? Just no comparison between studios. You know, let's just. I feel like studio debates are going to come up often if we do. Let's just say now. You know, let's leave studio names out of it.
Hands up for studio names. Can I say one? Can I get it out of the way?
No, because then I want to start. So because I wouldn't let it go unpunished. So that's what I'm saying. Like we need to just get out of the way.
You're right. You're right. I'll actually stop because I've just realized what I was going to say was definitely going to be a can of worms.
And that's why I was.
Yeah. So I'll leave it. I'll leave it there untouched for the moment. That's fine. No, I appreciate you trying to prioritize the show first and foremost. That's good. That's interesting. So, Fitzy, you hadn't seen a second of this movie, like?
No, and I really thought I would have. I really thought there would have been a moment where I was like, "Oh, I recognize this," but
yeah, yeah. I want to for you guys. I want to know to what extent you remembered it, because I just find this such an interesting exercise of like, I don't know, fucking childhood memory or whatever. Because I was going into it, I was convinced that, because I should say I'm pretty much the exact same as what Jaden said, where had this movie on repeat up to a certain age before I developed consciousness, basically. So, so I wasn't really. I was coming into it thinking I don't remember any of this movie proactively, but as scenes start hitting, I thought I was going to have these deep memories trigger. Like, oh my god, this image! I've seen it in my dreams or whatever. And that didn't happen at all. I didn't remember any of this shit. Like, as it popped up, like, honestly, nothing. The only thing I thought felt slightly familiar to me was actually oddly like the title card of like just Brother Bear in the flame, like in the fire. Like, I feel for some reason I remember that shit, but nothing else in the movie at all. What was your experience, Jaden?
Pretty much watching it fresh almost. Like, the only images that sparked something for me was that kind of establishing shot of like all the bears at the salmon run. That I feel like kind of just is seared in there. And then also the only other thing that really kind of I could like do like frame perfect for some reason was like the wild bear. Like I can remember like not the wild bear, like but like, you know, Coda's mum.
Oh yes, yes.
Like I can remember the design of that bear perfectly for some reason. And like it's only like those couple of frames that she's there. And that's otherwise everything else is almost fresh.
Gotcha. And she has the small pupils to like
Mm.
dehumanize her, whatever the correct language for that would be. But speaking, you quote this movie all the time, so it sounds like you just like know the film.
So it's funny you say that. So I really know the film, like story wise, and I there was no beats of the story that were unfamiliar to me, but like two things that caught me by surprise. There was like, I can't believe I didn't notice that as a kid. The first thing is and it just like completely triggered a memory of like, oh, I really like that style. It was the way they did the Northern Lights, and it was multiple ways. It was the ways when they had like the animals going through the Northern Lights, but then it was also on the mountain when the Northern Lights turned into water and K-9's walking through the water, and also whenever the snow would turn to flowers. Like that aesthetic, I just remember, like the second I started watching that, I was like, oh, I remember really enjoying the look of that. The second thing was when I completely forgot about the ratio change, the aspect ratio change.
Yeah.
As if you ever paid
Yeah.
attention to that as a child, though. Like,
Well, that's what I mean. Like I never did. And then I was like, when I was starting it, I was like, is this because the movie's old and Disney Plus doesn't
Right.
like have it? Like it's black.
Mm.
And then I was like, and then he becomes a bear and it's white again. I'm like, oh my God, absolute cinema. I believe I didn't notice that. Oh.
Dude, that was crazy because I don't know. It was a decent ways into the film. I know it was probably like 20 minutes, but which is decent into a film of this size. And it was, I was just like, why the fuck am I watching this shit? Because the ratio was perfect to where you could just fucking expand it
Yeah.
Mm.
and you just like Photoshop that, you know what I mean? And it's like, so I was like, why am I watching this like this? Like, what is going on here? It was, and then all my questions were answered when when it widened out and became peak cinema, and it definitely became noticeably more colorful as well, which I think was intentional.
Yeah, they mentioned that in the making of Brother Bear.
Oh, sweet, you got that.
They talk about how the screen gets wider, the color becomes more brighter, and the sound becomes louder. So it's meant to be like his senses are enhanced when he's seeing the world through this other perspective. So like sounds are meant to be more crisp, and you're meant to hear trees a bit more, you're meant to hear rocks a bit more, and water a bit more, and things like that. None of the things I ever noticed as a kid. The only things that I only sort of retrospectively was able to recognize after watching that. So,
Oh yeah.
Mm.
I mean, there's no chance I would have noticed that as a kid. Like, so you shouldn't beat
No
yourself
way.
up about it.
Mm.
You shouldn't beat yourself up about it. I don't know. I feel like as someone who loves aspect ratio changes, this doesn't rank super high for me.
That's crazy.
I don't know. It was, maybe I was just so distracted by like the weird box at the start that I was just like, why? You know what I mean? It's like, why is this? So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they could have done to make me like it more.
It's like the
I
most
appreciate
earned.
they tried.
It's like the most earned aspect ratio change there is.
How's it earned though?
Because his whole world opens up when like he's like, because like like when he's like naive and immature.
Yes.
It's
Tunnel vision. It's narrow. He can only
tunnel
see
vision,
one
yeah,
thing.
exactly.
Yeah. He doesn't
And then
have the
as he's
perspective.
thrust into this new life, his whole his whole horizon's broadened.
Yeah.
Like it is like the most earned aspect ratio change you can have.
But like he hasn't changed the character yet.
No, like I mean, physically he has, and then like he continues to grow into it.
Yeah. No, you're right.
You wanna
But like
fucking
the alternative,
expand
Zach,
millimeter by millimeter.
well,
as
I was
he,
about
like,
to say, as his character develops, the screen gets wider and wider and wider. It's like, no, there's no way I can do that. That's insane.
No, that's a good point.
Yeah.
That is pretty nutty. Fitzy, did you like it?
I don't know. It wasn't really impactful for me. I mean, I like it. It's a cool choice for sure. But yeah, I was just mainly distracted because I did think it was like a bug or something at first, so I skipped forward just to see.
Yeah. I get you.
And then I didn't feel like I actually noticed the moment where it happened. It was just like because the transition is like very colorful and there's a lot of kind of flashing shit going on. And I knew it was coming too, so it wasn't like my brain had to be reprogrammed or something. It was just
Because
something
when
that-
you skipped
that was-
ahead, you saw it was going to change at some point.
Yeah. So I was already like,
Yeah.
it was already factored in. It was priced in. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I get you. Yeah, Okay, no, that's cool. I look. I always appreciate when they go for it, especially in. I don't know. It feels. I don't think I've seen a 2D animated film do it before. Except I read in the trivia that I think Bambi does it. I read, which I'm like, that's don't know what they were doing back in the 40s for that shit, but cool, I guess. Okay, no, that's neat. That's neat. You mentioned the some of the art style, Luke, in terms of the representation of nature and that sort of thing. There is, I mean, maybe I should just read this trivia. There is definitely something to be said about this being the dying, the sad last days, if you will, of Disney traditional animation. And that is because this was the third and final film to be fully produced by Walt Disney Feature Animation Florida, which I guess they at some point in the 90s developed a Florida branch over there. They did Mulan, Lilo and Stitch, and then this film. So decent track record right there from these guys, to be fair. And then the studio was shut down in March of 2004 in favor of computer animated features. They were executed by the corpos back there. So I don't know, like, what is this? What? How much do you enjoy sort of going back to this style of the 2D and the traditional hand-drawn animation? Because it is worth keeping in mind that this film also released in the same year as Finding Nemo, which is kind of mind-blowing, just because they both feel like very technologically, obviously, just feel like in two different eras. I don't even mean to suggest it in a way. I feel like Jaden's on me. I don't even mean to suggest it in a way one's better than the other or anything like that. But it is just such a leap in technology that it is funny they both came out the same year. But I don't know. Are you a fan? I mean, I know you're a fan of Tarzan and shit, so I assume for you it was fun to go back to this shit before we got stuck with CG.
Yeah, it's almost like an appeal to nostalgia. Like you're able to look like it, because you're absolutely right. It came out in the same time as Finding Nemo, so it's like you could watch Finding Nemo and say I'm watching a movie from my childhood. But watching movies like this feels extra special because it's that painted background and it's the hand drawn animations, where it's like it's a different breed of childhood films. And so with that, it carries its own sort of aesthetic flourishes and touches and things like that. Like all the trees and stuff are great. All the caves that they go through, the glaciers look cool. Like the geyser pit and things like that. The salmon run, like all that sort of stuff. It just looks nice. It's fun to watch.
I just think that as well is that just like with this style is that it's always just so much more impressive to me because I can't even begin to fathom doing it. You know, I can't imagine drawing frames by frame and making it look like this. You know, I'm familiar with 3D software. You know, I can model a character. I can animate some stuff. Basically, I can do a couple of keyframes and shit like that. Like Cinema, you know, so 4D. Like in Cinema 4D, in Rhino, in Blender, whatever.
Yes.
So like when it comes to CG stuff, you know, I definitely don't want to say I'm anywhere near competent enough to do anything that you know of the level. But like it's a bit less mysticized to me because I'm like, okay, I can do that. I can rig this or whatever. With 2D animation, with hand-drawn animation, with cells, all that shit, I just cannot fathom it. So I think that's why this art style to me will always be for impressive, not only because it looks great, the nostalgia aspect and all that stuff, but it is just such a technical achievement that is just, you know, not seen today. And even when you do have 2D animation these days, it's often 3D. It's often made in 3D programs and then rendered 2D. So it's like this is just you know borderline lost art form.
Yeah. No, it definitely is, and it's funny because it's like the oldest form of animation, but yeah, it's still. You're right. I've got no comprehension. Like this is going to sound like such a dumb thing, and I wonder if you guys like. I don't know if you'll be with me or if you can answer it for me, and I hope you can. But like the thing that always that blows my mind in terms of like all these frames being hand drawn is like when all these different artists work on the film. It's just like how do they maintain an art style? I don't get it.
Exactly.
That's
crazy. Yeah.
I'm glad you guys are with me. It's. I mean, I assume I would love for someone to explain it to me. I'm sure there's very clear ways that they have of doing it, but it's just like I don't fucking know what they are at all.
I think like so. They had an artist for each of the characters. So they had an artist for Kenai, an artist for the mooses, and so like there was like one person, that's like you are drawing this moose. that's the only character that you're going to draw. Like, obviously, they're all like adhering to the same art style, but they're not like jumping between characters. So I guess that helps create consistency. But even still, like being able to, as a group, keep all of their artwork consistent with an overall theme for the movie, it's just like they don't do that. Like, I don't know if that even happens anymore. They just send out the PDF files and say, "This is what the style is." 3D render it, put it on your computer.
You're exporting 3D files in PDF. That's fucking nuts, man. How do you
Whoa, that's like that's like breaking the space time continuum or something. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if anything stood out to you about the animation, Fitzy, but I think for me, in particular, something about. I mean, maybe just my bias towards like untamed North America as a setting, because it's just I love it. It's just such a cool setting. So this is actually specifically set in Alaska, but maybe it's that. It's something about that to me though. It just fits the 2D art style so well, to where I don't know. Like I've seen settings like this before in 3D animated films. Like off the top of my head, like I don't know. I guess the Croods would be one. I guess that's and then like I can think of the Good Dinosaur. Like, I'm just trying to think of 3 CG films with settings like this. You know what I mean?
Alpha and Omega.
What was that?
Alpha and Omega, the one with the 2 wolves from like 2010?
Oh, yeah. I do. So anyway, but something, so I guess just compared to these examples, to me, there's something about exploring the setting in 2D that's just extra stunning. I don't know. It just feels like it really suits it. Which, sometimes I'm just kind of like, it could go either way. But this time I feel like the nature of it really suits the hand-drawn animation really nicely.
Do you think, are you like subconsciously connecting it to like the cave paintings? Because like they're 2D paintings, and the fact that the art style is 2D, sort of like the whole like North American like wilderness and that sort of thing. Are you like aesthetically blending them all together? Is that why it works?
I don't know. Maybe on some level, because I do. I mean, even like the mammoths and stuff, they're sick. You get those in the painting.
Oh, Ice Age, of course.
No, Ice Age, yeah.
Ice Age, of course. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Fitzy, sorry, did anything stand out to you about the animation?
Yeah, no, I agree with what you're saying. Like, I think ice and like mountainous kind of backgrounds are really cool, and 2D. I mean, like Pocahontas also has that kind of mountain range thing, right? Yeah, and just like the abundance of nature is very cool to see in this art style.
100%. Did you, switching gears here, did you see the twist coming that it was Coda's mum at the start?
Oh, no, I did not. I did not at all see that coming.
I did not at all either, Jaden.
I remembered that Coda knew the bear. I just didn't know it was like mum. I knew that Coda was like wrapped up in it somehow. I
mean, it makes perfect sense. It's like the only hanging thread that the narrative has up until that point. But like, I still didn't think of it. Oh, look, you know the whole thing inside out.
Yeah, naturally I knew. But I actually was now rewatching it, knowing who it was, I kind of was looking for Coda in those earlier scenes just to see if he was hiding in the background and things like that, but I couldn't find him. I really think they just included him later in different scenes.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think they were. Yeah, no, I don't think they did that. I mean, some films do that, though. I wonder, you got to be careful, I guess.
Well, that's like Knives Out too, right?
Oh, yes. Spoilers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is like that. I don't know, maybe it's easier in live action or something. But yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know why I didn't see that shit coming, but I just really didn't. It was kind of crazy. Kind of blew my mind, to be honest with you. But if I was Coda, I don't know, wouldn't I? Oh, man, this guy killed my mum. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel but they're brothers, eh? Brothers love each other, eh?
Beauty.
I can change, eh?
Yeah. That's what that was the whole thesis there of those guys. I mean, in all seriousness, I guess I feel like the scene that was meant to have sort of changed his mind was that one where it was those two dudes. Like he was upset in the snow or whatever, and those two dudes came over and I guess showed him the importance of brothership or whatever. I don't know. It was kind of quick. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
well,
I think the the whole wrap up was kind of quick to me. I was kind of surprised by how fast it
Mm.
moved in the last 20 minutes ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely on the rewatch. I didn't remember it being that fast. And then, obviously when you watch these sorts of movies, when you're older, you impose logic on it. And you're like, he killed his mother. Of course he's not going to be friends with him. Or did they really, you sort of start to ask those kinds of questions. And I kind of got to the point where I was like, it's the end of the movie. I'm just going to let it slide. You just got to let it go. It's like, it's a Disney movie from 2003. You got to just let it go.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Mm.
I think the points you just raised though were points I had as well. And I don't know. I guess the thoughts I had were specifically being told that this guy killed your mum. I mean, hey, kudos, I guess, because I would love to be able to forgive that easily, I suppose. But the other one that was kind of I couldn't quite wrap my head around was the notion of Kenai and Coda and their relationship as brothers specifically. Obviously, the film's called Brother Bear. Brothers is important to the film. The relationship didn't feel brotherly to me really at all, and I feel like something was kind of missing there for me. Just in terms of I didn't have an issue buying their bond in general. They obviously became family to some extent, and that's cool. But I'm just saying, brothers specifically. I thought if anything, it was more of a paternal thing. I don't know. How do you guys feel about it? Did they feel like brothers to you? It was just kind of. It wasn't quite the dynamic I got from it, really.
I think it was very. Definitely. I don't know. I think when you have that amount of bickering, but then also with the educator kind of side that Kenai takes on, that to me definitely speaks older brother. Maybe not. Maybe your age gap between your brother, it's only a couple of years. But, if you take it as a 16-year-old and a 5-year-old or whatever, which this seems more like, I think that definitely, I think it's definitely, easy to say, I read into it as brothers, very clearly. There is definitely that paternal side to it, but that is because of the significance of the age difference. But there's definitely brotherly fighting and aspects and kind of picking on him and all that shit.
Yeah. That's fair. I think you're accounting for the age difference there. It makes sense.
I think also in the fact that Kenai's responsibility at the end is to be he says he'll stay a bear because Coda needs him, and so it's he's adopting the role of basically being your older brother who's acting as your parent in the absence of your parents. So it's almost like he's being a brother adopting the role of a parent. So if it feels so it's got both of those layers there. So at times it does feel like you're being the guardian. He's being the guardian. And so you can lean that towards brother, you can lean that towards parent. I think it's a little bit, I think it's supposed to be ambiguous because of the fact that he's accepting more of a role of a guardian rather than the role explicitly of a brother, even though it is Brother Bear, so it probably should be brother.
Yeah, they're trying to at least make it a bit more universal in some way. Yeah. I agree. I agree with that. I think it was just missing. I don't know. It doesn't quite okay. So if Kenai had killed, if the bear that he killed was Coda's previous brother instead of his mum, now that's maybe not the best example because then that's kind of weird. It's he's killed his brother and then he's replacing him. Maybe you don't want that. But then I'm just saying then there's some sort of within the narrative there's some sort of established thing of a spot needing to be filled, a brotherly spot needing to be filled, and you could even look at the other way with Kenai in terms of he has two brothers, one carks it, and then he's still got the other one. He doesn't. You know what I mean? He doesn't. I don't know. I get maybe that actually does work more for him, where it's does Coda sort of fill that spot for him that he has of his other brother having previously died? Because I was just sort of thinking, my train of thought was I don't know, he's already got a brother. Why does he need another one? But it's he actually had two brothers, and then he's got another new brother. So maybe that actually makes a bit of sense now that I'm saying it.
I think it's also the idea of his totem. His totem was love. So him living his totem is him accepting the role as a brother. So like he's already got a brother, even though Sitka, who was the older brother, died. And so it's like, but you know, beyond that, his role now with his totem is to become a brother. And so that's why he becomes like another brother. Like he gets an extra brother because that's his role in society now, to be that brother person.
And to be a bear because the totem's a bear
Yeah.
as well. Yeah.
Love as well. You know,
Mm.
it's his love that keeps him there.
Fitzy, what were you going to say?
Well, I was just going to say, like, on Zach's point, I think it's kind of hard because the brotherly dynamic that Kenai has with his actual brothers is like so different to what he has with Coda. But I think the story makes sense as it is because he is the youngest brother and he's kind of the immature one. So he's having to take on like the role of the kind of parental, you know, figure, like kind of how Sitka was to him, like taking on that role of guidance, you know. But it does feel a bit awkward, I guess. It just feels a little bit too paternal. I do kind of agree in that sense.
Yeah. Like Onward feels much more like a brother story than this does, in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
but
for sure.
I guess it's a sort of different type of brother thing, I guess. But hey, it works as like a familial thing regardless. So like, I'm not.
The thing
I
I don't think the like the brother relationship is meant to be like really one of the main points, as much as it is just like obviously it's there and it exists, but like I don't think the fact that brother is in the title is meant to mean that this relationship is like the essential thing. I think it's far more about Kenai himself than it is about any kind of brother relationship. I think it's about Kenai's development rather than, and like obviously his brothers through that, the ones that are his and then that he makes. But like I don't think like it's like it's not essential to the story almost. Like the way that the way that Onward relies on it being a brother like a brother thing. This doesn't, you know, like you said, you can swap out some relationships in it. So like, yeah, like the brother is important and sure, whatever it's in the title, but just because it's in the title, I don't think it's meant to be like so important that you need to break it down as, or I don't know how much sense it makes.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think it's a bit of a, I think you're onto something, and I think it's probably just, it is me trying to make sense of the title a little bit, probably more than I should, you know. And the title's fine, you know, I'm not shitting on it. I think at the start we sort of alluded a little bit to some moments that worked emotionally in some way. I sort of want to gauge what those moments were, the moments that might have landed for us. I don't know if you want to kick us off, Spooky. I feel like you might have some.
Yeah, I'll say that like one of my favorite moments in this movie is when On My Way starts, which is the song that Coda starts to sing, and then Phil Collins comes in and keeps singing. It's when they're like moving across the country. It's like that's like that montage through that song is one of those emotional moments that I just like it makes it one of my favorite moments of the film. Apparently, at that point of the film, the song was actually going to be a song about Kenai reflecting on his role in the world, and it was meant to be a bit sad and a bit like, what's my purpose in this world? And then when they were looking at the movie, they were like, we're in the middle of the movie and we're just like taking the audience down. It's like, no, let's not do that. Let's bring the audience up. So instead of making a song from the perspective of Kenai, let's make a song from the perspective of Coda. And so then they completely shifted to On My Way. And then it became this upbeat song about journeying and, you know, traveling across, and like that montage in particular is one of my favorite. Like when they all get on the mammoths and they move along, and when they go up on the cliff and they're like the wind is holding them up. Those little emotional things there. I really enjoy that.
Yeah, that's strong. That montage is the best montage in the movie, I reckon. There's like the montage at the start when they're like rowing their boats or whatever, but
that's fun.
It's got some colourful moments. Yeah. Hey, that's that making of knowledge paying off there, isn't
it?
Yeah. Well done. Fizzy, anything that stood out to you?
That actually, yeah, that was one of the moments that was one of the strongest. But also, what else? I don't know. I think there are some moments you get out of Coda, just being sad in general.
Mhm.
I don't know when they were specifically, but I mean, just his kind of whenever he told his stories, there was some moments there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I reckon,
Can't
speaking of
remember.
Coda, mine would probably be definitely the moment that worked most for me in the movie for sure, for no real reason other than just like, I don't know, just inherently you got me. You know what I mean? Is when like when his spirit mum comes back and he gives her a hug.
Mm.
I was like,
Oh
oh
yeah,
damn, that's cute.
yeah.
That's cute. That's cute.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like that.
that was nice. Yeah, and I mean that was in the period of the film we were talking about where it is very much just sort of snapping. It is moving
Mm.
at that point, wrapping up quickly. There was just sort of one quick moment in there, but it was a nice one. That was probably my pick.
But I think the whole sequence, as like Sitka coming through, reuniting the brothers, and then making them understand it all that, filling his role, he's probably filling his totem, and then the other brother fills his totem, Kenai fills his totem. It's like all such a strong emotional like kind of resolution. Like it comes fast, sure, but like I think all of that is like just so strong.
Yep.
Yeah, it is strong. It is strong. I think the thing that just makes it feel a bit fast is, other than the fact that it literally is fast if you fucking rewind on the film, and it's like it's wild how it's like 3 minutes beforehand you like the sequence hadn't started and it's like and then it's over. But so like you can literally see it. But I think the other part is I feel like for me it's probably just Kenai's decision to stay a bear that makes the whole thing feel like, even it was fast before that, but even just that, because that's such a huge decision, obviously, to say I want to be a bear, guys. You know what I mean? It's like, and it's not to say, well, I'm not trying to make the argument it wasn't earned entirely, but it's just like he makes that decision in like 20 seconds, and it's like, oh yeah, we're real movie. This is the end of the movie for sure. Like we got to wrap this shit up. That's sort of the moment they gave it away for me, I think.
Back in those days as well, just like hand-drawn animation, I think like the rule was like 90-minute films are like your absolute maximum length, just because of like effort, time, and all that shit.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
So they didn't really have too much more time that they could play with because like it's already 86-minute movie or whatever.
Well, the thing, but I think without credits, this movie was an hour and 15.
Oh, was it? No,
I think so.
They had plenty of time to play with them.
Had an extra 10 minutes there. They could have really added to that. Yeah. Yeah, cool. We can talk a little bit about. So I don't know. It's a bit of a guess that Jen may have something to say about Wacky Phoenix in the film.
Dude, I actually have like quite a lot of negative things about this film, like to say, and like Wacky's one of them. Like he just feels so out of place. Like his voice. As the bear got better, but like when he's the human, I just feel like his voice doesn't sync up with his character in the slightest. Like it feels
it's cultural appropriation.
Maybe that factors into it, but like it feels like I'm watching someone dub over it on YouTube as the kind of their attempt at voicing the character. Like it just felt so out of place. I don't know. It felt so wrong, his voice. And his kind of performance in it. I think it got better as a bear. Maybe they casted him for the bear rather than for as Kenai a human. But early days, dude, he was.
They actually cast him because of Gladiator. They were like, when we want someone to play Kenai, we want someone who can have hold two emotions as well. And then they were like, and we saw Joaquin Phoenix in Gladiator, so we asked him. And then it cut, this is from the making of documentary. And then it cuts to a shot of him in the sound booth. His arms crossed. He looks pissed. He looks like he doesn't want to be there at all. He looks like he's giving no emotion at all to his voiceover performance. And it's like, yeah, I guess that's kind of it, isn't it?
How much did they offer him?
Yeah. I feel like it's no... I mean, I didn't think he dragged the movie down for me, but I don't disagree that he was kind of out of place. There was definitely right at the start. I was definitely sort of doing the mental gymnastics of the thing you don't want to do with where I can't help but visualize him in the booth literally doing this.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I couldn't buy into the character. You know what I mean? And yeah, I mean, I think there's something to be said. He is, no disrespect to talented voice actors, who I'm sure there are, plenty in this movie, but he's like the only notable name in this movie, really.
I went through like the names, like I opened them up and like I saw that like there's quite a few of these. Like I have been in a lot of other stuff. Good luck getting me to like actually know. Remember now.
But like he's like the only name you put on the poster, right?
Oh yeah, sure.
You know what I mean? Like a lot of these animated films, they usually get like, you might have a couple, 3 or something.
Rick Moranis is in it.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's probably the only other one that really gets a shout.
And Michael Duncan is in it, the dude that's in The Green Mile.
Oh, who did
he's
he played the big bear.
He's the big black bear from the Salmon Run.
Yeah, dude, that bear was black for sure. Like, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah,
no doubt.
He was meant to be in the original. Here's more behind the scenes. In the original movie, he was meant to be the big brother. So it wasn't going to be K9 and a little brother. It was going to be K9 and a big brother, and it was going to be him. The Tug was going to be the massive big brother that was actually taking K9 to the lights, and that was the whole story.
That makes more sense to me, given that his big brother's the one that dies.
Yes.
Yeah. So instead of having that, annoying coda, if you think he's annoying, you would have had the massive deep voice of Tug for the whole movie.
Yeah, he was pretty cool. Cool.
Yeah.
But just before we move on from Wacky, like this is still his only voiceover performance that he's done. So maybe something to him, like standing in that booth with his arms crossed, stuck with him. And he declined. I don't know. Like, I assume an actor of his caliber has been offered other roles like this. I'd imagine. I would have a hard time believing he hasn't been. So, anyway, there you go. Fitzy, were you annoyed by Coda? Yay or nay? Because I must say, I don't want to make it sound like he's like the most annoying character ever or anything, because he's not. But like that performance was a little bit annoying at times.
I'm not usually annoyed by kid characters that are supposed to be annoying.
Right.
I mean,
that's fair.
I think with Soul, I did that. I did have that with the kid character, but usually I don't. I think he was cute enough to not be annoying.
Okay.
So yeah.
No, you saying that they're meant to be annoying is actually that's totally valid, and that's maybe I should just suck it up a bit. But I don't know, something about his accent at times. It's kind of got a little bit.
Just the way he talks, dude.
Pretty much.
The child actor just talks with a lisp.
Yeah, the lisp. I think it was the lisp combined with like sort of the southern vibe. It was just kind of didn't do it for me. I don't know. Kind of grating. I should. Okay, that's fine. No takers on that. That's fine. No problem.
Well, like just on the accents in general. Like you said, it was set in Alaska. Because I just thought this was like, I just assumed like Canada because of the mooses, but then everyone else was like, the moose, yeah. But everyone else wasn't really doing Canadian, right? Or was there something? No,
don't think so.
Yeah,
I assume those. I guess I just assumed those moose. I guess they're
they migrated or something. So.
Exactly. Yeah, one of those things. Yeah. The moose were the best part of the movie. Like, it wasn't like I was never pissing myself. I don't want to like overhype them, but they were, every time they showed up, it was like pleasant. It was like, oh yeah. They didn't miss. They got them right, and their little accents were cute. I sort of thought. My first thought was like, are they like in Minnesota? You know what I mean? But
like North America,
like fucking Fargo. But I guess they're meant to be Canadian, so that's cool. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's not worth like. I mean, Luke already did try and like do an impression of them earlier, so like maybe I'll just leave it at that. But I assume they've got to be like one of the most, in terms of you walking around the house quoting this movie, they've got to be like the top example of that, surely.
Yeah, it's the I Spy when they're on the backs of the mammoths. And they go, I spy a long vertical log tree. Yeah, we say that quite a bit.
That was the joke that went on too long for me, and that was like my least favorite of those.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I liked it.
I think my favorite line of theirs was when they were in the grass. One of them was in the grass, and he was like, "Oh, gee, doing it this patch here, something went here." You know?
Yeah.
But I thought that was kind of funny. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And just the way they say beauty all the time is great. I always associated like beauty as an Australian thing, but I assume this they must be like a trope of like Canadians as well. I guess the fact that they keep saying it.
Yeah.
So you learn something new.
Yeah. Would be right at home in Canada.
I guess so. They're more like us than I realise, man.
Secondary Western countries that aren't America.
Yeah. Or AKA Western countries with gun control. I guess we haven't really talked about the songs. I basically want to hand it to you guys because I liked the songs decently, I guess, but I didn't expect songs, and I was even first of all, I didn't realize this movie had songs at all, but then I was also surprised that like none of the characters really sang except for that one example Luke highlighted where kind of started singing and then it got cut off. So it's not diegetic in a musical sense. So I thought that was an interesting choice. I don't know. I'm not familiar enough with like all these animated films to know if like some of the others do that. Because I don't know. Typically, Disney animation I associate with them being real musicals, which I don't think this is, but they still include the songs. It's a weird sort of in between space, I guess, for me. But yeah, I'll hand it to you. I guess, Speaker, you should start with the Phil Collins tracks and how banging they are or whatever.
Yeah, I'll start. So this is very similar to Tarzan. Tarzan does Phil Collins music in a very similar way. There's only one song in Tarzan where the characters in the movie are singing it. Every other time it's Phil Collins' vocals. Okay. So this was his second Disney movie, and he wrote the songs, but he doesn't actually sing all of them. So he sings On My Way. He was going to sing the song at the Salmon Run, but then they got in the Blind Boys of Alabama to sing that instead. And he was going to sing Great Spirits at the start, but then they decided to get Tina Turner in to sing that. So I'm pretty sure and the other song that he wrote was Look Through My Eyes, which is basically the theme of the movie, to look at the world through somebody else's eyes. And he was originally going to sing that, but then they decided to translate the lyrics in Inuit and get the Bulgarian women's choir to sing it. So every time you see that choir singing all the songs when the spirits are around, those are Phil Collins' lyrics being translated into Inuit, being sung by the Bulgarians women choir. So I think I adore the songs in this movie. I think they're all great. I think the soundtrack in this movie is great as well. I listen to this soundtrack on Spotify. All the songs that come up in this, particularly that Bulgarians women choir song, that Transformations. I think it works really well for the film. I don't think it's too many songs. I think the score repeats motifs long enough to make it feel like a song. The first song is just the song at the start of a Disney movie. You can sort of like not even think of that as a song. There's really only 2 songs in the middle of the movie. Everything else is like the score or like the choir vocals coming in. Or technically 3. He sings Brother Bear for 30 seconds and then it stops. So I think they kind of learnt their lessons maybe in Tarzan. I mean, I like the songs in Tarzan, but I think a criticism of that was too many songs. So I think they stripped it back a little bit for this one and they changed songs with score and they lent into the score a lot more than leading into songs. But I liked them. I thought they were really good.
You saying this kind of blows my mind because I feel like I heard Phil Collins every fucking second of this film.
Yeah, he comes in, he does a few vocals in the score where he just does like throat singing and things like that. But in terms of him singing words, only 3 songs. Yeah. And he sings 30 seconds of Brother Bear when he's admitting to Coda that he killed his mum. He sings the bridge in the song at the Salmon Run. So he only sings like 4 verses of that song. And then he sings On My Way.
I just learned that there's a Bulgarian women's choir, man. That's wild. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess there would be, but
Yeah.
this is probably the highest paying gig they ever got.
Apparently, they work with Mark a little bit. Yeah, that dude. They worked with him on another movie, but I can't remember what.
he's like their lifeline.
Mm.
That's crazy.
He's the Danny Elfman to his oh Christ, what's his
Sam
name?
Raimi?
No,
Sam
who does Edward Scissorhands?
Tim Burton.
Tim Burton.
Burton.
Doesn't Tim Burton and Danny Elfman, aren't they like two
I
I
peas?
thought we
Yeah.
were meant to talk about Danny.
What? What did you say?
I thought we weren't meant to talk about Danny anymore.
Oh, are we? I didn't know that. Oopsie.
I didn't know that either.
Don't Google it.
You can see how bad on the cancelled list. It's crazy. What do you guys think? Any more thoughts on the music?
No, I don't really like it, but that's just me as not a huge Phil Collins guy.
Gotcha.
Like
Brutal.
he's
Yeah.
like twang in his voice is a bit too much for me.
Okay.
So I didn't vibe with it entirely. No.
I think I only liked On My Way. I didn't really like the more depressing song. I think just the lyrics are a bit too like simplistic, I guess.
Yep.
Literal almost.
Mm.
So, but the first song works for me in that montage scene.
Yeah.
I didn't notice his throat throughout. I did not notice the throat sounds.
You don't mean like throating, you mean more like harmonizing, don't you? Just like,
Yeah, a little bit more. I mean harmonizing. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I think you're understanding with the lyrics, Fitzy, because I think there's, I don't know, the ending was kind of unintentionally hilarious to me. I'm not going to lie. Like the whole final piece, which was sort of formed the foundation of my Letterboxd review, was when goddamn old brother comes in with like trailer voice and says, "This is the story of a boy who became a man by becoming a bear." I just thought it was so fucking funny. I'm like, that is hilarious. And then it kicks right into the song of like, what it's like, "Show us that in your eyes. We are all the same." And it's like,
Yeah.
dude, this is a bit overboard for me right now. Like, this is a little bit strong. It just came in a bit too hard at the end there with like this how like I don't know. I just thought it was so funny, but it was like, the song was just so upbeat and just like so on the nose. I'm just like, Jesus Christ! And then the fucking visuals of like and then it's like the bears and the people like playing around and stuff. I'm like, this is now kind of weird. Like this is a little bit weird,
Yeah.
I think they crossed the line. I don't really know how to feel about that exactly. I hope my rendition of the song wasn't absolutely terrible, but it probably was. I did an Australian accent, so. Jane, you did allude earlier to there being other things that triggered you in the movie, like, annoyed you. Anything you haven't gotten off your chest?
I mean, it was wacky and it was the music. Like, they were like the big two.
Okay.
And then, like, I don't know, maybe it just felt bigger in my mind because of how significant I felt the music was. Like, that was like my main issue. But, like, separate parts of it, like, the lyrics, as you just mentioned, was like one of my main parts of it being an issue.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
Collins' voice kind of permeated the soundtrack was another issue. So, like, maybe it wasn't as big as I felt it was in my mind, but, like, yeah, they're like my big two.
Okay. I don't know. I feel like I've already done this already too much, but I'm gonna pick at the movie thematically again. What is the lesson to be learned from this movie? In terms of the theme being, of course, see the world through other people's eyes, empathy, understanding perspectives, all this kind of stuff. Within the narrative itself, though, and the context of the bears and the wildlife and all that sort of shit, maybe I was just so thrown off by the bears dancing with the people at the end. Of like, is this, it's just weird. Like, is this meant to be the outcome? Is this the lesson that, guys, you should all play along with the grizzly bears? You know what I mean? I don't. It's, trying to draw what the lesson should be for like kids watching this movie, for example, right? what are the bears meant to be parallel to?
It's more just understand, well, you cover, dude, you covered the fucking theme in your explanation of what the themes are.
Yeah,
It's just understand other people's perspectives. And like the clearest like kind of thing of that was when Coda's describing the attack from his point of view, and he's describing the monsters that came with their spears and they were attacking unprovoked. You know, it's just about perspective. That should be the main takeaway for kids. I feel you're reading way too much into fucking kids playing with bears and shit at the end. That's just a cute thing for Kenai as someone of that tribe.
No. So you're absolutely right that like obviously the themes have to be parallel with literally. Like obviously I understand that that it's just because there's bears in the movie that it has to be about bears, and in that sense I'm probably making a bad argument. I get that, but I do think there is something to be said for like the way in which it presents its argument as being not clear enough to something that kids can relate to. Because, look, the only thing I could kind of think of was like...
Are you just dumber than the average child, maybe?
I'm fucking 23 years old and these are my thoughts right now. I'm not I don't know, like, is it meant to...
It's prejudice. Because of Kenai's prejudice for an other, he attacked them, and that resulted in the loss of a mother, and a single mother died, leaving a child orphaned.
But to me, it's not irrelevant that the other in this case is a bear, which, well, like within the narrative itself, it's understandable. You know what I'm saying?
But like the fact that this bear is just like kind of like. Or like a respect your wildlife kind of thing as well, you know.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
And that's probably
the only
why
thing
you're
I could
also doing
argue
it with
with
with an indigenous tribe because of their relationship with the land and with nature, and how they have a very healthy kind of and good understanding of we know what to take and what to give and how to replenish rather than overconsumption. So, like, you use the bear because of the relationship with the Inuit tribes, and then you have everything else.
It's also based on real stories, like real folk stories of with Inuit peoples. Like they believe that some of their ancestors in like stories would turn into animals to gain a new perspective, and so they would treat animals around them as neighbors or as their brothers and things like that.
Like the peyote or whatever the fucking drug does.
Yeah.
But a bear is just
peyote. How do you say it?
What's that?
Peyote.
Like that plant drug that like it's like a Native American thing, and they take it. It's like their version of mushrooms.
And they go on a vision quest. Is that what they call it?
Yeah, and they like think they transport into animals. Am I saying the name wrong?
Yeah, no, I think you're right.
I've just never heard of that part.
Yeah,
I was just confused with that part.
Yeah.
Sorry, Fitzy, what were you saying? Sorry.
No, I give up. I'm trying to say it.
No, because I really felt like there was a chance you were going to be on my side, and I can't tell yet.
No, well, because like a bear is just a typical example of like a threatening creature, I guess. You know, like a creature, a monster to humans. You know, it's like one of the most prototypical examples. It's like cave. When people lived in caves, it was probably bears are probably like one of the scariest creatures or whatever. So, I think that's what it means as a symbol. You know, a bear specifically. But yeah.
This is kind of, I don't know. So what Jaden was saying about the goddamn them as a culture being understanding of the land and nature and stuff, I feel like the way in which they treated the bear as this monster was overboard. It was kind of weird. Like, don't let people like Wacky was maybe.
But that's because he was a naive kid. He was naive.
So
and
everyone
angry.
else in the tribe thought he was an idiot for carrying on like the bear was a monster.
Yes, because it was his fault for not tying up the basket properly. His brother even chastises him for that fact.
It all goes back to that.
And then that's why the Awada, Tanana, whatever her name is, obviously she can see through the facade to some extent, but then she's also like, this is all chill.
Yeah. Plus, the middle brother doesn't blame the bear because he knows that it's just like he knows the bear isn't a monster. It's just in the bear's nature to kind of do these things.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. I guess, no, that's exactly the point I was making, but if it's, relating, Kenai is the one who's at fault there. It's not the whole
his naivety, his haste, He's hubris.
Yeah.
He's young, man. You know.
That's right. That's right. The fact that he's wacky and he's like
As one of our great English teachers from year 8 would say, you know, more speed, less haste. And you know, Kenai was all haste at the start, you know.
yes, that's true. That's true. Luke broke first. I must say, when this film finished and it came up at the end that there was a Brother Bear 2, I thought, first of all, I thought there's no way that I'm watching that. Second of all, I thought, Luke's seen this, surely.
I haven't. I've never seen Brother Bear 2.
Jaden has.
I just have it on the 2-disc combo, you know.
Wow. That's crazy. I feel like I've never seen a sequel to any of these movies. Like, even though most
I've
of them
seen
have
quite a few.
Yeah. Are they worth the dive?
No.
No.
Because like they are like what they are is just like straight to DVD releases like that are meant to like entertain your kids if they are absolutely obsessed with them.
Yes.
Like they are of little value, and because like they take the tropes and they make it and then they just do it again. There is no like there's less nuance than what is in like the main releases. It's just kind of supplementary content.
I guess I never really understood that as a business philosophy, though, because I mean, I'm sure it had merit because they all did it at the time. I mean, you don't see it anymore, but I don't know. It doesn't really make sense to me. I feel like if you're going to the effort, like, is it at the end of the day, right? Brother Bear 2, Aladdin 2, all these films that I've never seen. They're movies. Like these team of people made a whole second movie, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like, why do they bother if they're not going to go all the way? It's like the fact that they made the movie is highly.
Films. They're cheaper films to make, and then it's the same as making a film for streaming these days. It used to be good, but now streaming films are, of course, big budget stuff as well. But when streaming services started, you know, your direct streaming films were often less budget, lesser known actors, you know, all this stuff, and it was kind of supplementary content for the main stuff. Yeah,
but they do that and make them cheaper, to your point, because they then release them direct. Like, they know they're not going to release them theatrically. Right?
Yeah.
So, but my point is, why do that in the first place? Why, if you're already going in the effort to make the film and give it X amount of budget and then set a certain a lower expectation on it, why don't, like, it's already a mass effort to make the movie. Why don't you just try that little bit harder, give it that little bit more money, give it that little bit more, like, creative energy,
it's a separate market.
And put it in the cinema.
It's just a different market. I don't know, like maybe...
But it's a smaller market.
Well, I mean, the DVD market was fucking huge back in the day.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. But do you understand what I'm saying? Where like they can just put in like 10% more effort, 15% more effort, however you want to quantify it, and just have it be a tentpole film like the first one. Like why did they have to? Why was the philosophy? Oh, this movie was successful. Let's lower our effort, lower our expectations, and put it out to a lesser market. Like, what's the point?
Because I think you're misunderstanding the philosophy that they were making it under.
I don't think I'm misunderstanding. I'm disagreeing with it. What am I not understanding about it?
Because the philosophy isn't let's make it worse because we know we're going to release it to a lesser audience. It's just that, you know, it's...
it's not going to win over more people than like the first one did, I guess. There's not a higher potential, you know. Not more people aren't going to see Brother Bear 2 than the first one, you know. So it's like...
Why though? Like, can't you say that about any animated film?
Like, also, it's just like, I think they often used it for like the B team of animators, like up and coming, like trainees almost. Like it was almost like a, you know, we'll get the interns to work on this, and then they can work on the big film next time. I think it was just a completely separate business almost.
Yeah.
They know there's a cap in the interest. Like they know it's probably going to be lesser interest in the first one, right? But they can't exceed the expectations of the first one, like made or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
no, well, I don't know. Sequels often do better. Like,
no, but that's in modern terms.
I was about to say, isn't it famously true that sequels are bad? Like, isn't that what everyone always says? Like, sequels are never as good as the first.
But,
Wasn't
but,
that, like,
but I think
ridiculous
even that
and true?
even that rhetoric applies to bigger films. I still feel like you're misequating as to what they're trying to achieve with the second films.
You
I just
reuse
feel-
assets, you reuse the world. You don't need to spend time creating a whole new storyboard because the whole world already exists. You're just going to make people do things. You cut down the budget because they're going direct to DVD, so they're not being shown in films, on a big screen, so they don't need to look as nice.
They're
They can
cash
just cut-
grabs.
Yeah,
Like,
cash grabs.
At the
Easy,
end of the
easy
day,
cash
that's
grabs.
almost what they are. They are just cash
Yeah.
grabs. You make them for cheap
And-
on the hope for selling the DVDs more.
Yeah.
I get it, but I'm disagreeing with it. I don't think they should. I think it's a stupid business model.
Yes, but sequels as a business model didn't really become a thing, especially in the animated genre, until this period in time of the 2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because no one had really done. Toy Story 2 was the first one to really do it.
Exactly. And then, so that's what a new precedent was established then in 2004.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
but that's what I'm saying. That's the precedent that was established by Toy Story 2 and then carried on. I think the fact that it's the one that stuck around means it was the correct one.
That's because there was
Like,
there
this
was
business
someone
model
there was
died 'cause it
someone
was
in the
shit.
boardroom, Zach. There was someone in the boardroom when they were going to make Toy Story 2, and they were like, "Why should we make bad second movies for cash grabs? We'll make a proper
This is what I'm
second
saying.
movie."
Yes,
But that only happened in 2004, not 2003.
Toy Story 2 is the best example because it was meant to be a straight to video release, and they realized at some point in production let's just do this thing proper,
Oh, really?
and it's a banger, and it made a ton of money, and it's like, I don't know, isn't that my point incarnate right there? Like,
Yeah, but this is before the precedent. So like, but then like Disney had established in the 2000s, where I just searched up a bunch of the dates: Cinderella 2 in 2002, Bambi 2 in 2006, something like that, Mulan 2 in 2004. So they had established this before they had a successful example. So this is what they were doing. This was their business model before they had a successful example to go off.
I understand that. I understand that they did it, and why they did it, and why they thought it was a good idea. I'm just saying it was shit. And like, I feel like it makes sense that it's dead.
But like, it was successful in its own right because, like, as Jaden said, they knew a certain audience was already obsessed with the film, so they don't have to put much effort in for that audience. They can put the minimum in for those people and get the maximum out of it. Like, it was successful in its own way.
But Jane, you're not disagreeing that it was superseded because it was.
I think it was an entirely different market, though. Like, I think, because I think obviously now Disney puts huge emphasis on their sequels and in distributing them. Moana 2 with the most recent thing.
Yeah,
but like I'm not going to say that model.
Moana 2 is actually another weird example, but
I don't think that model is necessarily any better than what they were doing when they were just making cheap films faster and just pumping them out into the DVD market, because they were making money off it. They were making shit tons of money off it.
But doesn't
they also have to spend no money on advertising, right?
Yeah, exactly. The whole advertising budget's gone.
Sorry,
but doesn't this mainly go back to the difference between like 2D and 3D? Like, you mentioned the assets, Luke. Like, it's harder to transfer these assets than it is for like a 3D film like Toy Story. Whereas here you would have to go through the whole process again, which is like a much bigger risk, because it's more effort for the hand drawing, right?
Yeah. That's definitely true. Yeah. Well, Moana 2 is a weird example, actually, because that was meant to be a Disney Plus series.
But now it's made $1 billion.
Yeah. You know what I mean? But yeah, no. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Maybe I could very well be, because I am very much talking about out of my ass in the sense I don't have any of these numbers in front of me. And like, I could very well be underestimating the profitability of the straight-to-DVD sequels. In which case, I understand why they. I'm sure they made money for them. That's why they did it for that period of time. So I'm probably underestimating them. I think that's fair. These days now, it's just the fucking straight to Disney Plus series is what they get. Like, even Monsters University has one now and all that stuff.
But I guess even that, is that a way? Would that help you understand it? In that, like, if Disney didn't have the faith in a big release, they'd push it onto Disney Plus rather than continue with like a whole media cycle. Or like what HBO and Warner Brothers do.
Yes.
That probably, try and understand in those terms maybe, in that they think, this could be successful, we're going to move it up, and this might not be, so we're going to push it down to streaming only.
Yeah. That makes sense. I guess it's still just the intentionality of it in the first place of being like it was conceived as a lesser product kind of bothers me. You know what I mean? That's kind of the argument that I don't know.
Yeah, but that
Like,
kind
it's
of
different
goes
when
back to
they
how, like,
didn't. Yeah,
I think that goes back to like my B team argument, where like, for example, with DreamWorks, with people that were working on Road to
the
El Dorado.
entirety of DreamWorks, the B team. Yeah,
You said you were going to leave it alone.
Sorry.
With people working on Road to El Dorado, they were punished and they were sent to work on Shrek if they did something bad. So Shrek was like the B team, and like because they had no faith in it. But then obviously Shrek
that checks
awesome.
out. Sorry, I can't help myself. I can't help myself. You brought up
You're
DreamWorks.
such a fucking idiot,
You brought up DreamWorks. Sorry.
dude.
All right, my apologies. I think it's time to get to Andy's review of Brother Bear. And Andy says, Coda's bear design was absolutely adorable, and the relationship between him and the main guy, Kenai, he actually said Kimai, is probably the most precious duo I've seen from Disney, despite not having seen many of the other children's animated classics yet. Although, I also love the goats, who were loudly talking with the New Yorker accents briefly. Yeah, they were good. Shout out to them. Joaquin Phoenix starring involvement here might also hint at the possibility of me watching Come On later down the track for another of his guardian figure pairings with a little kid. I think Andy's the only person on earth to make that comparison.
He also plays
Kenai,
a guardian in You Were Never Really Here, the Lynn Ramsey film.
There you go. The moment before Kenai transformed into a bear was crazily enough the most impressionistic thing I've seen from Disney by memory. Not to also mention Dr. Luke. Andy told me to pause. He said, pause. Mention Spooky on every Cinema Effect review challenge. I don't know what that means. Andy's trying to mention you in every review he writes. I get it. Okay. As Dr. Luke has just watched 2 films this week with aspect ratio changes, but the transition felt rather awkward for Brother Bear. Thank you, Andy.
I think once Andy hears us, he'll agree with us a bit more.
Yeah.
He might. Right after that, I didn't make a good argument. Right after that, it generally just feels like a routine viewing, as with most Disney affairs I've had, where it's just passable, but nowhere near spectacular. Just gratefully enlightened with another Disney 2D output before we transition to the glossier stuff. It has the potential to be just as memorable as The Lion King of the 2000s, but it felt rather empty by the end due to enduring a couple of those fucking musical moments. So I didn't mean to put an emphasis on fucking like that. That was an accident.
Personal. Yeah.
Not only were the montages reliant on whoever's singing those generic songs, but they were simply unbearable, pun intended. My verdict on Brother Bear is just going to be a hard stare. Aunt Lucy taught me to do them when watching other bear movies that won't come close to the quality of the Paddington films. 6 out of 10. Andy even threw in a Paddington reference there for everyone. Very nice. Thank you, Andy. Brother Bear is only slightly worse than Paddington. I'll say that. That's for sure. Okay.
But is it better than Cocaine Bear?
Is it better than Cocaine Bear? Oh, probably just. Yeah, probably just. Just a bit. All right. On that note, let's get to our final verdicts for Brother Bear. Fitzy.
I'll give it a 6. Sorry, Luke, but it was decent. Decent B tier Disney film. So it's up a 6 on it.
Oh, I saw this. This is the 670,000 views on Letterboxd. So like it's still like
that's pretty decent.
Yeah. So like in terms of like its popularity, I don't really know. Like I didn't look at anything else to compare it, but like
yeah. Wow, I didn't was there a point when I became extra like pinky orange? Like what the fuck happened? I don't know. I feel it looks weird. Anyway, Jaden.
I'll keep it an 8. I think the more accurate score is probably a 7 on this viewing, but I think that it's probably a 7 on this viewing, but I think the more accurate score would be my childhood perception of it being like this kind of brilliant thing and the kind of 8. So I feel like I can justify keeping it at that high score. Because it's not too bad. That's my perceived 7.
Okay, very good. I'm with Fitzy. I'm slapping a 6 on it. Luke.
I think when you look back on your life with rose-tinted glasses, red flags just look like flags. That being said, I'm giving this a 9.
Holy
Yeah.
moly, nice.
Yeah, the nostalgia carries a lot for this movie. It's a 9 for me.
Nice. Love that. What'd you give Tarzan again?
10.
Oh, was that the big 10? Oh,
Yeah.
Cute.
So this is Tarzan's better than this. So I'm giving this a 9.
it's all the logic I need right there. Very nice.
Mm.
Very nice. All right, there you go. I've been meaning to rewatch Brother Bear for like 10 years. So I got that off the bucket list. Very nice. Now it's time for our highlights of the week. Man, Jaden, I'm going to start with you.
What have I watched? Okay, I watched Terrifier 3, I guess. It was I think I've spoken about Terrifier every time I've watched, the subsequent sequel on the show. And then, as a recap, Terrifier 1 I thought was absolute dog shit and like truly felt like one like the most like kind of misogynistic like kind of horror movies I've seen. And I felt like that's like the only horror movie I've seen like where that comment is actually like warranted. Terrifier 2 was like it was like a decent product. It was huge steps forwards in terms of like story and craft and everything. And Terrifier 3 was getting like raved about last year. I don't know how much you guys saw about it being outside of the horror sphere, but like it got, noticeably like kind of like it broke through like the barrier of horror, which is kind of crazy for a low budget, independently financed, like hardcore gore flick. So like that's an achievement of its own. It's like something that should be kind of, recognized. But in saying that, it's still Terrifier. It is just kind of like, the appeal is the gore. And gore is not really my kind of niche or horror. This definitely like pushes boundaries and like it goes, there's some extreme shit in it. And it's all fine. Like there's creative kills at work. I mean, they all work, but like, there's the enjoyment you're going to get out of it is how much you're into that. As a kind of viewing. And, to me, it's kind of, it kind of, peaks at a 6. So, which is what Terrifier 2 was for me. So he's on track. Like they're good films and like they're probably, I mean, like you would never recommend these to non-horror fans. I really think that unless they're looking for something as like a pure shock factor on like a Halloween type of watch type of thing, you're never going to watch Terrifier as a non-horror fan. Yeah.
So I will never watch Terrifier.
God, no, you'd hate every second of it. You'd turn it off in like 3 seconds.
I appreciate your honesty. See, this is the value of having friends who know your tastes. Because so many people are like, "Oh, this movie's so good," but it's just because they like it. You know what I mean? And then you turn it on and say, "This is dog shit." See, Jaden gets me, and I appreciate that. I can trust him. He always knows. It's nice. Fitzy, what have you been watching?
No, I don't actually have anything this week.
Nothing? You didn't watch like an episode or something?
Oh, I mean, yeah, but okay, yeah, I watched a few episodes of Lost, I guess.
Oh yeah, nice.
Only the episodes that I've already seen though, because I think last time I also got like 6 episodes in. So we'll see if I get further. I don't know. I'll probably get a bit further, but
Hopefully.
It's good so far. They kind of do like, I mean, I don't want to call it a Euphoria thing because obviously this came way before Euphoria, but like, they kind of do the thing where they tell, in this first season they're doing a thing where they tell like a different character's story for each episode, and that's really great. Yeah. It's really fun. The 5th episode in particular, like the 5th episode in particular is pretty amazing. But they're all like got decent stories, They're all lost in their own way, you could say. But I think that's the intention. But yeah, it's a decent show. Yeah, I think like there are just some really fun characters, really easy characters to like love, and that's why people get so attached to the show because like it's one of those shows that's like seen as one of the classic shows, but like the IMDb rating isn't too high, so it's like there's a really strong fan base for the people who do like it, you know, and it is because like some of the characters are just really like likable characters. So yeah, like the Hobbit guy, Domhnall, says that Domhnall Gleeson, is that the guy?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's a good character, and yeah, others too.
Fitzy, what's the whole thing with Lost? Like, it's the whole idea of, like, I've heard that Lost, like, the idea of the show is that it just goes on forever. Is that one of those things that, like, that keeps it sort of going in pop culture as a thing? Like, when people go, oh, like, what's the longest running TV show? They point to Lost? Or am I thinking of another movie? Or another TV show?
Well, there is like 5 or 6 seasons, and some of the seasons I think are like longer than 20 episodes. So it is a long show, but it doesn't run on as long as like your average, like, you know, long sitcom or like long Home and Away type thing. If that's what you mean.
Oh, that doesn't even count. Home and Away.
Yeah,
that's in a stratosphere of its own.
That genre of shows that go on.
Do you reckon there's more episodes of Dragon Ball or Home and Away?
I wouldn't have a clue. I don't know how many episodes of Dragon Ball are there.
I reckon they'll be up there. Because that's
They're
been
still
going since the
making
80s.
Home and Away, though.
Yeah, but they're still
Home
making
and Away
I mean,
for
they're making
sure.
different variations of Dragon Ball and shit like that, you know? Stuff doesn't
But
matter.
like, aren't there like something like 10,000 episodes of Home and Away or something?
There could be that many episodes of Dragon Ball.
My God. That's nutty, dude. That's nutty. Jaden's going to solve this for us. While I talk about
isn't
my
One Piece
highlight.
only like 1,000?
Yeah. That's like small. That's like small
Yeah,
potatoes.
but Dragon Ball's been going for since the 1980s.
Is it,
Yeah,
has
it's
it had
not
breaks
One
though?
Piece.
So it's 153 in terms of like Dragon Ball, but then there's Dragon Ball Z and Ultra and all that other shit. So like that's what I mean, you know.
Yeah.
Dragon Ball.
Home and Away might be the winner. Yeah.
And episodes of all Dragon Balls.
All the Dragon Balls.
All the Dragon Balls. What's longer, Home and Away or Neighbours?
I think Neighbours is the OG, right? Neighbours was first.
Yeah?
Yeah. I
Didn't
think so.
Neighbours stop for a year, though? Like, didn't they cancel it and bring it back?
That is true, but I don't know how much of a head start it had.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, Dragon Ball's only got 806 in total across everything, apparently.
Oh, One Piece beats Dragon Ball, man.
Jeez.
Oh, wow.
Dragon Balls, small potatoes right there.
Yeah.
Get out of here. All right. I guess I'll go to me. My highlight of my week was, of course, watching Kingdom of Heaven, the director's cut. I kind of said everything I wanted to say in my Letterboxd review, so I guess this is the spot where I have to expand a little bit. But some points I didn't get to highlight were probably just how stunning the film is. Cinematography is gorgeous. You know, the funny thing about the film is that it has, like, when people talk about loving Gladiator, and like sort of what we touched on in our review a little bit as well, of like seeing the appeal of like the soul that film has in some way, like, and you can kind of see it in the coloring and the look of the film. Like, that film does have some level of soul there that just isn't backed up by its script in any capacity, but you can feel it on some level. Kingdom of Heaven has that quality too, except it has a super interesting story with great characters to back it up. So it just really plays into this cohesive experience. It just really, it's like the full, I know this is like insanity to most people because like everyone loves Gladiator for some reason, but it's like the fully realized version of Gladiator. It's like Gladiator, there was something cooking there, kind of. And now it's like he had a great script and he did it. He pulled it off, you know. The action is phenomenal. It is a sizable step up from Gladiator. I can only assume really learnt a lot from doing that film and working with all those sets and stuff like that, because it's a lot better. It's not as good as Gladiator 2. Like he's definitely, and not as good as The Last Duel either. Like he's very much on a learning journey, as like he was probably, I think he was like probably 70 years old when he made it or whatever. But he was very much on an action learning journey still. And Kingdom of Heaven's a huge step up from Gladiator 1, and that's evident with anyone with eyeballs. But yeah, I think the film's just awesome. I highly recommend the director's cut to anyone, because it's basically just, it's peak Ridley doing historical epics, which I feel like is like one of the, probably in my opinion at least, like probably one of the main things he's like known for. Personally, when I know he's got a vast filmography across genres, but I think of Ridley, I think historical epic probably first and foremost. He's done quite a few. And this is absolutely like his peak work in that genre, for sure.
Do we know how he feels about his own movies? Like, does he believe he gets better with everything? Like, would he himself say that Kingdom of Heaven's better than Gladiator? Or is he like one of the ones that's like, oh yeah, Gladiator's like,
I don't know. That's a really interesting question. I do recall when I was in that phase of after Gladiator 2, listening to a lot of interviews with him. I do remember, like, he felt very strongly, like I think a lot of directors are like this, so we've probably heard this before, but like he very much loves all these films equally, is what he says. But in terms of analyzing like his progression of his craft, that's kind of a different topic. So I don't know. I feel like I would think, trying to keep personal bias out of it, just watching the films and being in his shoes, I would have to think he would know it's better. And I bet he'd say, like, to your point, I bet he'd say like the next one was better and the next one was better in terms of those things he was doing. Yeah.
You see, but then he does have Alien in 1979, and like he doesn't really get better than that. So that's why I'm like,
well, yeah. Well, I guess that is an interesting case. Like, would he think that Alien Covenant was better than Alien? Because no one else thinks that. But I don't know. Yeah. The thing with this director's cut, I'm so glad it exists. It's like by far the most I've ever personally. I mean, to be fair, I probably haven't seen that many like director's cuts, but it's by far the most I've attached myself to a director's cut of like, this is the shit. I like, this is my cut. You know what I mean? Like most of the time, it's just like an alternate version I either haven't seen or like don't think's much different or whatever. And it's just a show. I don't know. Like the only way I watched it is because I bought it. I got it shipped here, so I don't really know how accessible it is, which is kind of a shame. I feel like, because like I think the film's on Disney Plus, but it's just theatrical, and it's like I'm not watching that shit. I can't go back. So I guess that's my plea. My plea would be check out the Kingdom of Heaven director's cut. But if you can't check out the director's cut, then just never watch it, I guess, because you don't want to experience a lesser experience of the film. It's kind of a weird one. All right, Dr. Luke, what have you been watching?
I've watched a lot. I've had a busy January.
You can only choose one thing, just to be clear.
Oh yeah. So I'll talk about the most recent thing I watched, which was the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Oh yeah.
I really liked that. That movie slapped. I thought it was really good. I was talking to Andy the other day, and I was like, because the only Wes Anderson movie I'd ever watched was Fantastic Mr. Fox. And I've seen that twice. I watched it ages ago in primary school and then rewatched it recently. And I said, should I watch anything else? And he said, well, Grand Budapest Hotel. And I remember thinking, like, how much of Fantastic Mr. Fox is Wes Anderson? And how much is it Wes Anderson doing a Roald Dahl? So I was like, I wonder if, like, the style of that movie is going to be different. And then I watched Grand Budapest Hotel and I just go, oh, no, it's just Wes Anderson. That's just what he does. And I just completely fell in love with it. I ate it up. The cinematography, the lighting, the set design. I'm a sucker for when the movies have these bits when it's like when there's like a mixture between dialogue and narration from the same person. So it'll be something like, "What are you saying?" I said to him. "Nothing," he replied quizzically, or something like that, where it cuts between the dialogue and the narration describing that. Like, I'm a sucker for that. And they did that a few times in Grand Budapest, and I just ate it up every single time it appeared. Yeah, Lord Voldemort gave a fantastic performance in that movie, so very happy with that. Yeah.
Dude, Rafe never lets you down.
Not so far. No.
No.
It was great in Bruges, great in Conclave, great in The Menu, great in this, great in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Is he perhaps the actor of, our generation?
Oh, he is for me. Dude, he's what about when he turned up in the Hurt Locker? That was awesome. That was sick.
Which part was that?
Do you remember?
Was that like on like when like the car bomb at the hospital, whatever it was? Was that no?
No. They like ran into him like sort of out in the desert.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
he was like the SAS guy or whatever.
The snipers.
Yeah. Dude, that was awesome.
Hmm.
Yeah, Brave. So Luke, you're a Wes guy. What's the name for like Wes Anderson's fans? Like a Wes head? Like what can if they got a name?
A Wes Andian.
You're a Wes Andian.
That's a bit mouthy.
Yeah. I kind of like Wes head. You're a Wes head.
Yeah, Wes
I
Head
just
is
totally
pretty
made that
Yeah, I
up.
like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can't use Anderson because that's taken by like two other directors.
good. Yeah, by Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah, by Paul.
Either
Yeah.
Paul.
Yeah.
Either Paul.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now I'm just. I'll move on before I start trying to think of names for like.
But I was thinking like
non-fans or something.
Westerner. You know, I was like Westerner. You know, it's like I'm a
Oh, I don't
Westerner.
hate that.
Yeah.
I don't hate that.
Mm.
Yeah. I don't hate it. This should be a question of the week. This has got a lot of potential, guys. All right. Speaking of question of the week, let's get to the segment where we hand the show over to you with our question of the show. Last week we asked you, what is one of your favorite? Oh my god, I don't have it in front of me. What is one of your favorite childhood films that you haven't seen since? Or what is your favorite childhood film you haven't seen since? I think that's it. Andy said, usually if there's a film that I haven't seen since I was young, it probably means I really didn't like it. But if it appears on TV, I could see myself watching it for a bit. With that being said, Big Mama's House 2 is a childhood film I haven't seen in a while. It featured on 2 of my Letterboxd lists. I rewatch a lot of my favorite Chinese martial arts films that I've seen as a young kid, so it's the best answer I could come up with. That's fair enough. Andy actually revisits his childhood. So, Big Mama's House 2. I feel like Andy needs to tell me what's superior about 2 to the first one. You know what I mean? What's going on in the Big Mama's House franchise there?
I'm on
Yeah,
Andy's
see.
side.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, God damn it. You left too long to... Oh, yeah, what?
Sorry.
Yeah? You're on Andy's side? You know about these movies?
Well, let's
Wait,
wait until
wait, hold on,
Dr.
have you
Ian
not-
says something.
Have you not seen Big Mama's House?
No. What? No, absolutely not.
Okay, sorry. The fact that you haven't seen doesn't surprise me, but the fact that do you think like it's like something like obscure?
I wouldn't say obscure. I would say it's something that I think was total dog shit.
Well, it is, but like sorry, like it's just that like this is like one of the big comedies of like the 2000s. Like, do you see it as that like, or did you think it was like kind of like just like a kind of whatever thing?
Yeah, no. When you just put it that way, I would not have said that. No.
Right.
Yeah, definitely not one of the big comedies. No. But
What do you mean? What's not superior about 2? Don't you believe in sequels, bro? Like, come on.
oh Christ. Oh my god. Leanne said, it's difficult to pick one favourite childhood movie, but some ones which stand out are Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Yes, I also have the vinyl album. 101 Dalmatians. Benji. What's Benji?
It's like a dog
movie.
thing. Yeah.
Like Lassie?
Dog.
I know about
Probably
Lassie.
like Lassie. Yeah.
Lassie's like my wheelhouse. I don't know about Benji, but they sound similar. Jungle Book. Bambi and Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Oh, yeah. Those are classic 1940s Disney films right there. I haven't seen any of them since. Must put them on the list. Wow. However, when I think of the best childhood movie of all time, I can't go past E.T. As we know, E.T. the Extraterrestrial was released in 1982. Is a terrific science fiction film produced and directed by Steven Spielberg. Apart from the fantastic special effects and reasonably decent plot, it is one of the great examples of product placement in films in the 1980s. That's my contribution for this week. Looking forward to sound and vision next week. Thank you, Leanne. I didn't forget this week, so you've got it. You've got us. Although you've got me looking like I'm in Blade Runner 2049 for some reason, but that's okay. I don't know anything. I can't remember. E.T. could be. It's not one of my answers, but it could be because I haven't seen E.T. in a long, long time, and I don't remember anything about it having product placement.
Reese's.
Oh,
Right?
do the kids like have it or something?
It was like the Reese's Pieces thing. Like AT like gets obsessed with it, right?
Oh,
That
And
sounds
is it-
right, yeah.
Is that also the one where like
okay.
he stays home from sick from school and like to fake it, he like pours Coke on the phone like to make it sound like he's throwing up? Or is that a different film?
Yeah,
I don't know.
That sounds
I
right.
actually haven't
it
seen
sounds
it.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
It's
Reese's is the
yeah,
big
that's
one
right.
though. Yeah.
Okay. Fitzy hasn't seen ET. That's like me having not seen Jaws, except that was fixed a couple of years ago.
No, ET and Django are the big ones that have scenes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
What, Django Unchained?
Yeah, he hasn't seen.
No,
Still.
the previous Django. Yeah,
Well, like the original Django. Yeah.
of the 1970s.
All right. What are our favorite childhood films we haven't seen since? I've got a feeling there's going to be some nostalgia here. Bit of a nostalgia segment. We'll see. Luke, what comes to mind for you?
I wrote them down because I knew that I'd forget them. But Big Mama's House and Big Mama's House 2 is one of them. I totally agree. For whatever reason, we watched Big Mama's House 2 more than we watched Big Mama's House 1. I can't remember why. I think we only had like the DVD of 2. I remember watching that all the time, but I have not watched that since. So I'll echo Andy's answer. One of them is Big Fat Liar. I used to watch that all the time as a kid.
Jim Carrey.
Have I watched it? No, Big Fat Liar was starring what's his face, Paul Giamatti, and the kid from Malcolm in the Middle, and someone else who I can't remember. And it was like the kid writes a play for a script, and then Paul Giamatti's a director, and he like steals the script from him and like makes his movie. And so the kid like pranks him back and tries to reveal that he originally wrote the script for this movie called Big Fat Liar. There's an amazing scene where Paul Giamatti gets covered in blue while they're playing the Duran Duran song Hungry Like the Wolf, and they turn him into a Smurf. So that's something that I've always remembered. Bed Knobs and Broomsticks. Did anyone watch that?
Well, you're going deep.
No,
I don't know
no,
what
Yeah,
it
so
is.
Bed Knobs and Broomsticks is like similar. It's similar to the idea of like Mary Poppins, like early Disney movies where they integrate live action with animation. Bed Knobs and Broomsticks was one of those ones, and like my nanny used to have that playing all the time. So we used to watch that all the time, but then I haven't rewatched it since. And last one was Fat Albert. If anyone's seen the movie Fat Albert, I was like,
What's going on with these fat movies, man? They're making movies against the
Yeah.
fats. It's weird.
yeah, that was the comedy back then. That was the thing.
I mean, people didn't make fun of Fat Albert for being fat though. Like, Fat Albert was he was wholesome, you know.
Yeah, he was your
okay.
best mate. Yeah,
Yeah, he was everyone's best man.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cute. I can safely say I've never seen any of those movies. But
Wow, there you go.
that's wild, man. That's wild. Fitzy, what have you got for us?
Yeah, I may have forgotten to look for answers for this question until the episode started.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's what I was doing for like the first like 20-30 minutes.
Yeah. As soon as Luke or Zach said like this would be a good answer for the question, I was like, okay, I gotta look at this. I have mainly animated, like Meet the Robinsons, Surf's Up, Monster House.
Dude. Yeah.
Flushed Away is the other one. I think.
Yeah.
Flushed Away. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the one I watched the most is probably Meet the Robinsons or Monster House. Those were on a lot. But the other one, the non-animated live action film, was Fantastic Four. That was the one I watched a ton, and I haven't seen it since I was a kid. I don't think, but yeah, I'm a fan of Fantastic Four and the Silver Surfer. So
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, God, I haven't seen. I think, first of all, Monster House, I don't know why, because it's obviously a kid's movie, but like it had this thing for me where it was like it was one of the ones that played as a trailer before other DVDs. And
yeah.
And then like I always thought it was like a scary horror movie. It's like I can't watch that. You know what I mean? And it's like a kids animated movie, but it was like Monster House and it's like spooky or whatever. It's like stay away from that. So I never watched that one. I still haven't seen it. It's crazy. We'll see if you guys can relate to mine. I've got Chicken Little up here.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. It's about. Oh, I just remembered this. Isn't it like Aliens?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It's crazy, dude.
the sky
But then,
actually
like,
is falling.
Yeah, the
the sky
sky's
is
falling.
actually falling.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dude, people
does that
hate Chicken
movie-
Little. Like, I
Do
looked at the Letterboxd reviews of Jack. Like, people fucking hate Chicken Little. I don't get it. That's crazy.
It's probably like if we were to watch it, it's probably really bad. I don't know.
Yeah, I think my score is relatively low on it.
Oh, really?
I don't
It
remember.
probably is bad, but yeah. I
Hang
haven't
on.
seen it since I-
Now that I've just remembered this though, right? So I remember it's the little chicken man plays baseball,
Mm,
and
yeah,
then the sky's falling, and then there's like sort of an apocalyptic scenario.
yeah.
The Little Chicken Man. You mean Chicken Little? Is that?
Correct. That's the shorter version of it. I think that's his full name. But so then how does the movie end? Because that sounds pretty dire.
Doesn't
yeah.
it become friends with the aliens, and then the aliens go home?
No way.
You're asking
Don't they
what?
go onto their mothership, and then like
They definitely get.
No.
I definitely remember him going on the ship. I don't remember like any resolution.
Yeah.
Does he destroy the ship or does he go with them?
Oh, he doesn't go with. I think.
I,
like,
I wouldn't think he would go with them,
Yeah.
but I'm with Jaden. I actually don't remember the resolution.
Well, he
That would
plays
be my
baseball,
guess,
right?
yeah.
So didn't he use his baseball skills as like a
Yeah, sure.
way to defeat the
I-
aliens?
Mm.
You know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he like
yeah.
hit a ball and it like blew up their ship or something.
Well, but that's what caused the problem because like he hit a home run and he like hit one of the panels and like it loosened it, right?
Mm,
That's right.
yeah,
So like, does baseball
I know.
solve it as well as cause the issue?
yeah.
What if it was all in his head and the sky wasn't really falling? And
Oh.
all of the other characters, their criticisms of him were like justified. You know?
It's just as likely. That's
Oh.
nuts. Let's go. We should rewatch Chicken Little, and but I'll actually be sitting on the edge of my seat for like the conclusion of the film. Like, where could this possibly go? You know what I mean? It's like if you really think about it, that's crazy. Are you guys Land Before Time people?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the Will
huge.
Ferrell thing?
No. This
No,
is
that's dinosaurs.
it's the 2D animated dinosaur franchise.
The Land Before Time.
Yeah.
But Will Ferrell is the dinosaur movie too.
No, wait, hold on. Which one are you talking about?
Are you talking about the dinosaurs?
No, it's like a time travel
a
movie.
3D.
Are you talking about like Year One or some shit or whatever?
No, not Year One, bro. No, that's Jack Black, isn't it?
I don't know what you're talking about.
The Will Ferrell time travel movie. Will Ferrell time travel.
I don't know.
What?
Oh, Land of the Lost. I think you've Land of the Lost. That's okay.
Oh, okay. I've never heard of that. There's like 10 Land Before Time movies, and
Oh,
like
yeah.
TV successes. They went that dude. Speaking of straight to DVD, they went ham on that shit.
Yep.
Mm.
They maximized that business model there. And the other one I had was Garfield Gets Real. Has anyone seen that?
Yeah, banger.
Yes.
Garfield.
Is that Bill
Dude,
Murray?
No, this is the
it's
3D animated one after that.
Oh.
I
It's
don't
the
think
3D
I've seen that.
animated. It's the 3D animated one that I think ended up. Like, I think they ended up doing a TV series with the same art style, or maybe like this came after that. I don't know, but there was definitely a TV series like, with a similar art style that they did with Garfield. But yeah, dude, like it's funny how it should be one of those things where like you go back to it and you realize it looks really bad, but like I remember it looking bad. Like it looked bad then, you know. To me, at that age, I was like,
Does
oh,
it?
"This looks bad."
Or isn't it just like a claymation type thing where like it's like simplistic rather than
no,
bad?
it's just
No, it
bad.
actually is bad.
No, it's just bad. Yeah, take a squiz at it. Take a squiz. Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah. The live action Garfield is actually like an answer for me. But it's funny how
Oh, yeah,
none
it's
of the
dog
Garfield
shit.
movies are good.
It's the new Chris Pratt one. I mean, I assume it's not good. I don't know, but
I don't think it was.
I didn't hear anything about it.
No,
yeah,
yeah.
that's a shame. Garfield deserves better. Who haven't I done? Jaden?
Yeah.
Yes.
Dude, I had a massive list, but I was like, I had to cull it down. Like, there's shit on here that like, I might make like a legitimate list because like there's so much stuff on here. But the stuff I kept was like the stuff that I actually that I really like. I'll start off with Bolto just because of a couple things. But Bolto, anyone watch Bolto?
You're not
Bolter.
talking about Bolt?
No, Bolto.
That's what I was thinking of. The John Travolta, Miley Cyrus, Superdog.
No, so Bolto is also an animated dog. But he lives in Alaska and like he so that's why he lives in Alaska. It's 2D animations. It's stunning. And he like goes on adventures and like he rescues dogs and shit. And he rescues like, you know, and he helps out. He's really sick. Bolto 1, 2, and 3, all amazing. The Adventures of the Adventures of Milo and Otis. Did anyone watch this one?
I've heard of that.
So
But
this
I
is
don't
this
think
is the like the cat and the dog, the pug. They're true best friends, and they go on an adventure. Apparently it's Japanese, and like I just watched like the English dubbed version. I used to watch this a lot. Apparently, like the animals were treated to terrible conditions. So it's
Yeah.
not got a great rap now. But this was something. This was great stuff back when I was like fucking 4. Snow Dogs, talking about dogs and snow again. You know, with the Balto thing. Did you guys watch this one? With
I think
Cuba
I did.
Gooding Jr. Yeah. Not to be confused with 8 Below, the one that's also about snow dogs, and with the other guy.
It was a trend.
Oh,
Yeah. So that one's also pretty good.
Oh, Paul Walker.
Wait, was that one with the black guy too?
No, I think it was with
Paul Walker.
no, that's a different one again, isn't it?
No, we're talking about 8 Below, right?
Wasn't
talking
8 Below
about
the one with like the Hispanic guy?
No, I'm looking at it right now. It's Paul Walker, dude. How many times do I need to say it? God damn it.
Okay. Isn't there like or is it like 9 Below where like he gets replaced by like a?
Well, maybe.
Yeah. Anyway, Napoleon, talking about dogs and animals and stuff. Did anyone watch Napoleon? The Australian one? No. It's about a golden retriever called Napoleon. No.
Oh, that's cute.
No, dude, bangers. And now we're getting to like the classics. Like these are like my 2 like huge bangers.
Okay.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: The Secret of the Ooze.
Oh,
Did we watch this one? 1991. Did we watch this?
I've seen it before, but
This-
like probably once.
This was everything to me. This was hilarious. It was fantastic. I watched it so much. This was like my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle connection. And I, to this day, like I haven't seen it since, but I feel like if I put it on right now, I think I still have the DVD and like a 3-pack of like action movies. I think I would still get way more enjoyment out of it now than I did back then.
You might too. You might.
Yeah. Did any of you guys any spooky no experience with it?
I was
No.
never a TMNT person, but I know like The Secret of the Ooze, is that like a cult classic now? Like amongst the like Ninja Turtle community, like is that like one of those movies that's bad but everyone loves it because it's bad?
I reckon.
Or
yeah.
it's
I think
like it's
so.
one of those
I've
kinds
heard
of like
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's the vibe I get.
And then my last one I'll give a shout to is this like really old film from the 40s called Hold That Ghost. This was a Bud Abbott and Lou Costello film. Do you guys know Abbott and Costello?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Who's on first base? What's on second?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know who's on
Those
third.
guys. Yeah. We used to watch a lot of those, a lot of their films when I was younger.
Mm.
And Hold That Ghost was my favorite one of all. It is fantastic. There is just great jokes. It's just a great kind of film that I will always forever love, but I haven't seen since I was very young. It's kind of strange considering like what it is that I haven't seen it since then. But Hold That Ghost is brilliant, and I'd say everyone should watch it. But yeah.
That's crazy. You were watching 1940s films that early. That's like
Yeah. Oh, like it's like a lot of like my dad loved that stuff. Like Abbott and Costello, like the big ones, and like Jerry Lewis was the other one. Like I watched so many Jerry Lewis things when I was like young, but I never really continued with it.
right.
So like a lot of like those kind of classic comedies that you could get on like DVD packs, like back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Explains a lot, but yeah, very nice. I guess you just want your parents to have good cinema taste. I guess that's the moral of the story.
Be the
I mean,
parent who has
Albert-
good cinema taste. Yeah.
Exactly. My kid's gonna be thriving for sure. There's no doubt about it. All right. As always, we'd love you to submit your responses, thoughts, and/or reviews for next week's film in the YouTube or Instagram comment section, or join the Discord server. This week, the specific question we'll be asking you is: what is a movie you watched because of its title? Let us know. Maybe to shout out good titles. I don't know. Whatever. Movie titles. There you go. All right. That's it for this week's episode of Cinema Effect. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in.
Wait.
Fitzy, what are we doing?
Oh,
What?
okay.
What are we
I thought you were just wrapping it up. It just the vibe. It felt like you're. I don't know. No,
I say the same thing every week.
Yeah.
To you.
but it was just your tone, It just felt like
Oh,
you were just like rushing to the end. It just felt weird.
yeah, I kind of was.
We're doing A Complete Unknown, which everyone. Well, it's funny that this is like the title question because everyone calls it the Bob Dylan film. Yeah, we're seeing the Bob Dylan film.
Yeah, that's true. Actually,
in the cinemas.
What is a movie you saw and never knew the title to? Let us know. That's
Beyond
a question
Rise
about.
of the Planet of the Apes Up the Dawn.
That's right. That's right. The dawn for the war of the planet. Yeah. All right. That's it. We'll see you next week. I appreciate Liam, Jaden, and of course Luke for joining me as always. Have a great rest of your week, everyone, and goodbye.